Good morning. Hope everybody's had a great week. I just wanted to say thank you all for all your prayers and your support. Thank you for just your encouragement from the video that I posted last week. Thank you for sharing that video with others. The overflow has just been phenomenal. So many people has reached out to me. So many people has shared your stories with me. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am just in awe of God. When I posted that video, I really had no expectations other than just, to be obedient. And I prayed and asked God to please let it reach just one person. And, I'm just in awe. So thank you for that. And I hope that you will stick with me through this journey. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know where we're going with this. But I do hope that through this, we will be able to overcome this together, and that through this, we will be able to help others too. So please continue sharing your stories with me. Give me updates, and please continue praying for me, and also pray for other people too, because, I can promise you I am not in this by myself. And, so anyway, it's just been really great. Thank you. This past week has been very good. I did something just a little crazy this week, and I just really had this word stuck in my brain, and just the word intentional this week. And so that's what I did. I worked on my brain and said, okay, I'm going to be intentional this week. And through the process this week, I kind of did some self-reflection on, what are things that bring me joy? What are things that make me happy? And why am I not doing them? And so this past week, which it was a holiday week, so that kind of made it easy, but I made a point to spend time with family, spend time with friends, go out on the boat, stay at the pool, go shopping, go to dinner with a friend. And, it's just been really good because, I truly had to be intentional because, really and truly it would have been easier to stay in the bed or not really deal with anything. So that's been really good. I encourage you that this next, week or 2 or 3 or 4, that you will do the same thing, that you will be intentional, find things that, once brought you joy and maybe you haven't done in a while, and just do it. Just do it. And so anyway, I want to share with you too, just something, and I hope that this helps kind of give you just a, revelation, maybe some understanding, and hope that it helps you the way that it has helped me. And I am going to put this into practice, and I am going to work through this. So there's a story in the Bible, and it's Joshua chapter 6, and it's about the Jericho Wall and the Jericho March. And so in this story, the Israelites were told by God to march around this city, and they had to go around this wall, and there was a process. It was once a day for 6 days, and then on the 7th day, they had to march around this wall 7 times. Well, on the 7th time of the 7th day, the walls fell, and they were to go in at that point and take over the city. So when they did, though, Joshua told them, says, do not to burn everything. Don't take anything with you. The only thing that they were to take was the things of value, which were the gold and the silver and the bronze. And so they took those items and they, dedicated them to the Lord. And so God began showing me, though, that we are that wall, and that within us, there are things that really should be burnt. And there are things, because those are things that are of no value. Those are hindrances. Those are things such as disappointment, unmet expectations, rejection, fear, those type of things that hinder us and steal from us the things that are also within us, that are like the gold and the silver, which are the things of value. So, we lose sight of the value that is within us because we are so focused on the things that are hindering us from seeing the value. And so, those things have to be burnt. They have to be gone. They have to be destroyed. And we have to look for the things of value that are within us. So this week, my goal is to do some self-evaluation. And we have to be honest with ourselves, which sometimes can be hard. We have to be willing to point out, the bad and the good, and we have to learn to be transparent within ourselves. And so some of the things that I know that have to go from me, just to share with you a little bit, would be unmet expectations. I am very goal driven, and I have this, crazy, vision and these crazy dreams. And I am a very impatient person. Yes, I said it. I'm very impatient. And so through that, when I don't meet those goals and those expectations within the time that I feel is, that should be met, I begin feeling failure and feeling disappointment and feeling those unmet expectations. And so that creates disappointment and the feelings of failure. And so I've got to get rid of that, because to be goal driven is a quality. It is a value. To want to see, great things is a value. I know the value that God has placed in me because He created me. He created me to be fearfully and wonderfully made. And so sometimes I forget that because I am so consumed by the disappointment and the rejection. And so that's kind of, for me this week, that's going to be my goal, is I'm going to tear these walls down, and I am going to remove the things that are hindering me from seeing the value that God has given me and placed in me. And I hope that, you will also do that you will lay out the things that and it could be fear. Sometimes we have this goal and this dream to be something or to do something, and fear just cripples us. And it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of, unmet expectation. It's fear driven. And so it cripples us. And so I just encourage you that this week that you sit down and you just kind of go through what's within you. What are the negatives that, are really crippling you from being able to see the value that is within you? Because, when God designed you and when God designed me, He didn't make a mistake. Yeah, when I look in the mirror, I can find every single flaw. But when I say that God created a flaw or God made a mistake, I'm discrediting God and who He is. God doesn't make mistakes. So I've got to look past and stop seeing flaws and stop pointing out and, looking at the disappointment and looking at the rejection, looking at the failure, the things that, maybe people have spoke over me, or the things that I've spoken over myself, and just trust that when God created me and when God called me, that God didn't make a mistake. He didn't make a mistake for me, and He did not make a mistake for you. And so regardless to what you're facing, nothing is too big for God. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, he talks about that, His grace is sufficient, and that in our weakness, He is made strong. And so sometimes we've got to get to that breaking point to just say, okay, God, I trust You, and I'm going to give my life to You, and I'm just going to trust that You know what You're doing with me. And He didn't give you the mindset and the heart to have goals and dreams if He didn't mean for you to fulfill them. So, get your mind back. Take control of that. Take control of who you are. And yeah, maybe you don't look how you want to look, or you don't, you're not as educated as you want to be, or you're not as, good at talking, or whatever the case is. And maybe you're not there yet. But I know this, I know that if you will just say, okay, God, I'm going to just trust you, and I'm going to just begin to walk in what you've called me to walk in. I am going to, just know that I'm not a failure. I know that, while I may feel like people have hurt me, I may feel like people are rejecting me, God, you haven't. You haven't turned your back on me. You haven't let me go. You haven't given up on me. And so He hasn't. He's there for you. He's there for me. He's going to get us through this, and we're going to get through this together. And so I just hope that this week that you can do some self-examination, and that you can begin to learn to change your mindset, and that you will see the value that you are and the value that God's created within you. And I pray that this week you will be blessed, and that this week that God will use you, and God will help you. And whatever you're facing this week, know that you're not facing it alone, that you've got a God that is right there holding your hand, and you have got a community of believers that are standing with you and standing in the gap when you can't stand. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful week.